Welcome to Awesome Movie Year, the podcast where we take a look back at an awesome year for movies, which is every year. I'm Josh Bell, film critic and writer, and I'm joined by my co-host.
I'm Jason Harris, filmmaker, comedian, book closer on the year 2014.
Indeed you are, and that is where we're at. We have concluded, or we'll be currently concluding our season on the films of 2014. And as we always do at the end of the season, we are here for our epilogue to look back at the choices that we made and the choices that we didn't make for movies that we covered this season, and talk about some of your suggestions on social media, which we always very much appreciate. So let's dive into it. Shall we?
You go for it, Josh. You want to take
All
that
right.
box office champ for us?
We started the season with the box office champion, which was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which was the number one movie in the US. As I think we mentioned in that episode, it was behind worldwide two high-quality films, Transformers: Age of Extinction and The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies. So I think it was better for us to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. I really wouldn't want it to spend that much time with either of those films.
No, I remember when Transformers, it was like worldwide. And then that really, between that and the Marvelization thing, hurt films for many years because it was like, oh, well, everyone in China will go see this if we do this and this. And it's like, how about we focus on the quality of the movies and like, let's just make good films. That said, Guardians, good film. Glad to see James Gunn saving the DC universe right now, Josh.
Yeah, Guardians is, I mean, in addition to less perhaps depressing than one of those others, is a good film. But the overall list of the top box office films for this year is kind of depressing to look at. It is all franchise movies except for one. Below Guardians, we have Maleficent, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, X-Men Days of Future Past, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then finally Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. And not that some of those other movies aren't good, but the makeup of what is most successful, and that kind of continues to this day in terms of what tops the box office, is a bit depressing.
I think the two superhero movies and the Apes movies that you mentioned there, that not the Amazing Spider-Man 2, that was just a fuck you to audiences. But the other ones are good, and the Apes was a worthwhile franchise reboot.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that Apes franchise, but I mean, I agree. The X-Men film and the Captain America film, those are two of the better superhero movies. I just think as a general trend, I mean, we've talked about this too when we look back at much older years and you look at the top movies at the box office, and there's just a lot more variety. This is like 10 of the same type of movie, more or less, and maybe, and then Interstellar.
And Interstellar is still making money on those like kind of repertory showings and re-releases.
Which is great, and I'd rather see that than one of these other. I mean, I'm sure they re-release things like Captain America and whatever, and those make money too. But it's much better to see something like Interstellar, which I don't love, but to have this long shelf life versus something else.
I don't love it either. I got issues with you, Interstellar.
Maybe we'll get to that one.
Maybe. First feature, Josh. We went with our friend Riley Stern's Faults. What a fine, Josh, you campaigned for that one. I'm glad you did. I watched all of Riley Stern's movies and really enjoyed them all. I know he's teaching karate or whatever right now, but come on, make some more movies. That was a great movie, Josh. A few other ones we were looking at. Another great movie, Justin Simeon's Dear White People. I hope he's got another big one in him. And then Nightcrawler from Dan Gilroy, which might come up in the future. That's a good one. One other one I was looking at was Comet by Sam Esmail, who made Leave the World Behind, which I liked, and Mr. Robot, which I liked at the beginning and liked less as it went on.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about when we do these more recent years is it's harder to look at a debut and see who went on to have this big, notable career as much. And all of those people, I mean, especially Sam Esmail and Justin Simeon, have been working more in the TV space. It's hard to say, it's possible that there's a debut that we didn't look at by someone who will in future years become a major filmmaker. But I do like Dear White People, the movie, and the Dear White People TV series was not bad, and Nightcrawler as well. So have you seen Comet? I know you like those other Sam Esmail things.
I haven't seen Comet, so I got to get to it, Josh.
Yes, indeed. So
hurry up, Josh. I got to go watch Comet.
Yeah, that's what we got to get to. Our flop episode, we talked about the Johnny Depp experience, Transcendence, and some interesting possibilities for the flop. Jason, you were trying to get us to talk about Draft Day, the Kevin Costner film about is it the football draft? I've seen this movie.
Yeah, which people have told me. A producer that I used to work with said when he read that script, it's one of the best scripts he ever read. So I would have liked to have seen where the miss was on that one. Also, Inherent Vice, that could have been nice. So.
Yeah, I think Inherent Vice is great. Annie, the Annie remake, which is terrible. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. A Most Violent Year, which we did end up talking about later. And Jason Reitman's Men, Women, and Children. I think Transcendence was a good case study in how all these big names can produce something that fails so hard. But and I'm glad I didn't have to see that Annie remake again.
Right. I was just trying to get one in that I like or was a little more interested in, but that's okay. We did it. Palme d'Or winner, Winter Sleep. That's a long movie, Josh.
It is.
Good setting. My big takeaway from that was also playing at Cannes that year was Foxcatcher, which I think is a great movie. It makes me want to see more. I mean, that might be Carell's best performance. That might be your boy Logan Lucky's best performance, Josh Channing Tatum. And Bennett Miller, let's make some movies, guy.
Yeah, I do like Foxcatcher. And there were a lot of major filmmakers in competition at Cannes that year. I mean, some others include Clouds of Sils Maria, the Olivier Assayas movie that got a lot of attention, Jean-Luc Godard's Goodbye to Language, David Cronenberg's Maps to the Stars, which is not one of David Cronenberg's best, but still a notable filmmaker. Mr. Turner, the biopic by Mike Leigh, which I think is very entertaining with a great Timothy Spall performance. The Dardenne brothers, of course, always at Cannes with their 2 days, 1 night. So it was a pretty stacked lineup there to get Winter Sleep as the winner, and maybe something else should have won.
Yeah, Jane Campion, you and I got beef over this one, bro.
Yes.
Josh, when we went to documentary, we picked the movie we had to pick, and it was a very good movie, Life Itself, the Steve James movie on Roger Ebert. What kind of men would we be if we didn't cover Ebert, who is the most quoted of all critics here on Awesome Movie Year, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ebert has been a presence in this podcast since we started it. And, we always quote from his reviews and his TV segments when we're talking about a year when he was active, which is like half or more of film history. So obviously we had to do that.
This was a very good documentary year. Some that I noted down of the ones that I have seen, The Overnighters, which is awesome. It's about the oil boom in North Dakota and a kind of priest or pastor, religious figure who tries to help these new people move in and deal with their lives there. Spoiler alert, priests, can you figure out what happens?
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, he doesn't bang the kids, but he does try to bang a lot of dudes. There's your spoiler there. Next Goal Wins, where they made who just made that into a narrative film?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah,
the narrative, which I've not seen.
No, nobody did. But I will tell you that is a very cool documentary. Elaine Stritch, Shoot Me, awesome, goes over her life, and it's kind of towards the end of her life there. So I recommend that. Finding Vivian Mayer, that movie's awesome. Virunga's awesome. Just really, really good documentary year, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen like any of those, I think, that you mentioned. On our list that I have seen, Jodorowsky's Dune, which is the fascinating exploration of the Dune movie that Alejandro Jodorowsky did not make, which I think would have been a terrible disaster of a movie, but it's a fascinating documentary about the process that they went through. And Iris, the documentary about Iris Apfel, which is just a very life-affirming, beautiful portrayal of this woman in her 80s or 90s, I think, who's this fashion icon.
Yeah, made by Maisel brother, right?
Yeah.
That's a good film.
That is a good film. And also a good film, my pick, which was A Most Violent Year, as mentioned, a flop, unfortunately, but a very good film. I think I really was all in on that. A couple others that I considered, Unfriended, which is a great found footage horror movie that unfortunately has been sort of tainted by all the shitty ripoffs of it that have come out since, and Jeremy Saulnier's Blue Ruin, which is a fantastic thriller. We have already talked about Saulnier. Check out our episode on his film Murder Party.
That might be, I think Green Room's my favorite of his, but Blue Ruin might be right behind it as second favorite. Although Rebel Ridge, man, he's back, baby. Let's go.
Very talented filmmaker. Excellent films,
we like him.
Those.
We like him, Josh. For our foreign film, we went to Ruben Östlund's right on the nose dialogue and Force Majeure, which we had to. He's such a big presence in the filmmaking world right now. The two others that I had marked down, I know, Josh, you love the film Ida, and then Leviathan.
Yeah, Leviathan, a very slow Russian film. And Ida is fantastic, though. Pavel Pawlikowski, who also directed Cold War afterwards, which is another in a similar vein and is a great film. And I would highly, highly recommend Ida. Beautiful, gorgeous cinematography, very affecting story. Not as on the nose as Force Majeure.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes. Our animation episode was about the Lego Movie, which was a lot of fun and an interesting year for animation here too. Other possibilities, the Box Trolls, the stop motion film from Laika, which is a lot of fun. The Book of Life, which has a weird cult following, although I think I saw it and I was not a fan.
It's like Coco.
Disney, it's like a shittier Coco. Disney's film Big Hero 6, also fun. Song of the Sea from Cartoon Saloon, like a great studio just turning out really beautiful, interesting films. I know you're a big fan of those, Jason.
I do like Song of the Sea quite a bit. And I got to go watch the Box Trolls now that I didn't realize all that was with it. So nice year for animation. And also, Lego Movie, Box Trolls, Song of the Sea, 3 different types of animation. So that's cool. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good year because of that variety, too. I mean, we have this big Disney movie here, but we also have a lot of other different kinds of movies that made money at the box office, that actually reached audiences and are popular. So I do recommend. It's not like his best movie, but Box Trolls is fun.
Cool. Then came my pick, and boy, did I really screw it up, fellas.
Oh, you did.
I mean, I was thinking, let me give you something a little under the radar that you probably don't know about, which I did do, but it wasn't that good. Of the bigger movies, I was considering The Grand Budapest Hotel, but we've covered Wes Anderson on the show before, so I didn't want to go that route. Although, I mean, that's probably his most popular movie, I think, probably still to this day.
Is it?
I think it might be, Josh. I think it might be.
Okay.
Snowpiercer, which is my favorite Bong Joon-ho movie that I've seen. So I would put that on there. And then Richard Linklater, top 3 director for me, Boyhood, which is a crowning achievement for him. I talk a lot about that in our Birdman episode. So those were the bigger ones. Of the under the radar ones, Josh, I had 2 good choices and I didn't go with either of them. Obvious Child, an amazing Jenny Slate performance where she's a stand-up comedian who I think is dealing with the aftermath of an abortion and just not having her life together. And I love Jenny Slate, and I think this movie is a really great showcase for her. And then Cheap Thrills, a crazy movie made for $100,000 with my pal, my buddy, Whammy, David Koechner. I should have chose one of those, Josh.
You should have. All of those. Well, my feelings on Wes Anderson, but otherwise, all of those I would have been happy to talk about. As I said, however, in our Ping Pong Summer episode, I do appreciate the chance to look at something under the radar, something that I wasn't familiar with, and maybe it wasn't the best movie, but the spirit of that choice I would approve of. Also will endorse Boyhood, certainly a fantastic film. And Richard Linklater, a filmmaker, I'm sure that we'll eventually get the chance to talk about. The Sundance winner was Whiplash from Damien Chazelle, a movie that I don't care for, but certainly one of the most notable films of the year, and a movie that went on to become a huge sensation, both in terms of audience and in terms of awards. Damien Chazelle has had a major career. And I think unlike looking at Cannes, where I think, oh, look at all these major heavy hitter filmmakers and interesting films that won over Winter Sleep. The competition lineup at Sundance this year is full of a lot of stuff that I had never heard of. Some of the more notable things we talked about Justin Simeon's Dear White People, Happy Christmas from Joe Swanberg, who I do have an affinity for Joe Swanberg, not to say that that is necessarily like the greatest film.
It's fun. It's fun. And you see isn't that Anna Kendrick really playing a shitbag in that one?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, Joe Swanberg is a filmmaker who either you like what he does or you want to murder him. And I generally like what he does, but I understand people who don't. Infinitely Polar Bear with, I think, Mark Ruffalo, like a drama about depression that I think I've seen. The Zellner Brothers, Kumiko the Treasure Hunter, which is a fun, weird movie. And The Skeleton Twins with Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig, which is a pretty good movie that has one of the greatest like lip sync dance sequences, I think, in cinema history.
I think that movie's getting a cult following.
Yeah, I think it might be. And I wrote about it on some list article that I did recently, and I didn't get a chance to rewatch the whole movie, but I did rewatch that sequence with them lip syncing to Jefferson Starship, which is just such a like wonderful, life affirming moment, and you can see the chemistry that they have as these brother and sister. And so I would recommend at least YouTubing.
Yeah, and also that movie is not life affirming, FYI. So.
No, it's dealing with some heavy issues, but I think the relationship between the two characters and they're supporting each other as siblings is pretty good in that film.
I agree, Josh. Now we come to Best Picture. And man, Oscars, did you kick your own head into your own ass on this year? So not just with the win, Josh, but with some of these nominees. As you know, Birdman, your favorite movie, won, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. So that's the one we covered. I did stump hard. The Oscars didn't listen to me. Boyhood should have won Best Picture.
I agree.
Yeah. So of that year, the other really great movie, I think, was Grand Budapest Hotel that was nominated. So those were the ones that were nominated that were great. American Sniper, because we always have to nominate Clint Eastwood, even though David Zaslav won't let him make a movie anymore, was up for Best Picture. I thought that movie was fine. I don't think it was Best Picture nominee, in my estimation. The Imitation Game, which really put your friend Benedict Cumberbatch into superstardom. It's all right. Not a great movie, not a terrible movie. The Theory of Everything, with that son of a bitch Eddie Redmayne winning Best Actor. I never saw that movie, and nor do I want to see that.
No, you shouldn't.
Whiplash, I love, so I was good with Whiplash. And I never saw Selma, but that did bring us Ava DuVernay, who I think is kind of due for a comeback.
Yeah, maybe. Selma's pretty good, but overall, this is a terrible lineup.
That's what I was saying. Bunch of a-holes. Yeah,
no,
Foxcatcher's not in there? Like, what are we doing, you idiots?
I agree with you. And even the things that, you're positive on, I don't like Grand Budapest, Wes Anderson in general. As we talked about, I didn't like Whiplash. And Selma is fine, but it definitely is along the lines of The Imitation Game and The Theory of Everything, and even American Sniper, all of these true story, historical reenactment kind of dramas. And I will say about American Sniper, it's not just about Clint Eastwood. That was a massive hit. That movie made tons of money. And I think the only reason it's not on the top 10 box office for this year is it came out at the very end of the year, I believe, and it ended up making a ton of money going into the next year. But it's bad, but it is a hugely popular.
I mean, I didn't dislike it when I saw it. And I mean, that opening or sequence when whenever it is when he's in Iraq and there's like that firefight is very, very harrowing and well done. But again, you got Gone Girl this year. There's plenty of other great movies that were, we talked about Nightcrawler, things like that really deserve to be in there that weren't in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And of the choices that are there, I'm with you 100%. Boyhood is the only one that would have deserved that award. And of course, that didn't happen.
Idiots.
So, next, we had Dave's pick. What was your thought process there, Dave?
Well, I mean, come on. How could I not pick John Wick? I mean, it's one of the most important movies of 2014. But a few that you guys already mentioned, Obvious Child, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Inherent Vice. Those were things I was thinking of. Grand Budapest, of course. Also, Chef, the Jon Favreau film. I know you don't like that one, Josh, but I was thinking about that. Tusk, which I'm not a big fan of, but like talking about later era wacky Kevin Smith would have been kind of interesting. And The Rover is a really interesting movie.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
They have a Godzilla movie from 2014 and They Came Together.
And I skipped right over it. It's literally on my list. They Came Together. Godzilla, I'm not a fan of that one. But but They Came Together would be another one to pick. So yeah.
Yeah, Dave only likes Godzilla movies that have King Kong in them, I think.
You're 100% right.
That Godzilla movie from 2014 has that amazing sequence where they're like jumping out of the helicopter, right?
Yeah. And nothing else. But yes, it's got that.
I like that movie, and I'm a big fan of Gareth Edwards, although his Jurassic World movie that just came out this year was not very good. But I think he had a track record before that of doing really interesting things with franchise films and his own original work, and working with special effects in a fascinating way. So that is probably my favorite of that franchise, of the American, Monster Verse or whatever they call it franchise. But I know, Dave, you only like it when King Kong is there.
Yeah.
Dude, Godzilla -1. Let's just go with that one.
That is a good one. I'm talking about the American ones, and that's a Japanese film, but that's a good movie as well. Yeah. So we next had our cult classic pick, which was Edge of Tomorrow, that we all enjoyed. Some of the other possibilities, a few things that we've already been mentioning: Inherent Vice, which I do enjoy a lot. One of my favorite PTA films. Box Trolls, also The Babadook, the Australian horror film, another horror film, It Follows, which is fantastic and is about to get a sequel. And Jason, I think you threw on The Interview, the Seth Rogen movie.
I did throw on The Interview because that is such a timepiece to history, right? True. That's a movie that was going to get a release, and because it was making fun of Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il, whatever, North Korea hacked into Sony, and that's the big Sony hack situation. And we couldn't release the movie, and then they put it up. Was it Netflix? Or one of the streamers put it up.
Yeah, it was. I remember being trying to figure out how to cover that movie because it was in flux, and they did. I think they put it out on VOD to rent, and then it might have been Netflix or Amazon because I think that was how I ended up watching it. But I remember at one point it was like, we're going to still put it in some theaters, and I was going to drive to Mesquite, outside of Vegas here, because that was the only theater that was showing it. And then it did show in some theaters, I think including in Mesquite, but I ended up watching it at home. But it was a weird, crazy situation. You're right. Such a weird time capsule.
Yeah. Also, you look back and you're like, oh, Obama, look at what you did. You got them back with, taking down their internet because you were a real president. That was awesome when we had a real president, Josh.
Yeah. Let's leave that aside.
There are so many choices I had for audience choice, Josh. We did Liam.
Jason loves coming up with these audience choice categories. I think it's one of your favorite things.
I don't know. I just let it come to me, Josh. It's a flow state, So we did Liam Neeson. How busy was Liam Neeson in 2014? We did Walk Among Tombstones. We could have done Nonstop or Taken 3. Or we could have done a whole separate Liam Neeson category in animated movies between The Nut Job, The Lego Movie, and The Prophet. So he was all over the place in 2014.
The Nut Job is so bad. Such a terrible animated film. Glad we didn't get to that.
Of the Liam Neeson kind of vein, I did have a category called These People Will Fuck You Up. And we had Nonstop, The Equalizer, Edge of Tomorrow, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, 3 Days to Kill, Sabotage, In the Blood, Lucy, The Expendables 3. This was a big genre back then.
Big action movies. Yeah, a lot of varying kind of action movies there, but a lot of action that year.
Did any of them stand out to you? The Equalizer is fun.
The Equalizer is fun. Lucy is insane, and I appreciate it for that.
Ugh, we were talking about Luc Besson earlier.
Yeah, I thought Lucy was like a Hannah ripoff to me.
Yeah, Lucy wasn't very good. And In the Blood, starring Las Vegas's own Gina Carano, which we should maybe not be proud of.
Yeah, who beat Disney in a lawsuit because everyone has to now back down to that idiot in charge. Whatever, dude. Josh, some of the other categories, remakes, we had RoboCop, About Last Night, and The Gambler. None of those were good, were they?
I kind of like that About Last Night remake, I think.
All right, there you go. We had shitty sequels, Josh. A lot of shitty sequels this year. A Haunted House 2, Rio 2, 300 Rise of an Empire, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is the worst. The Purge Anarchy, was that any good?
Nah, but I mean, people love that franchise. I don't care for it, but it definitely has a following.
Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, Dumb and Dumber 2. Nobody liked that one.
Oof.
Horrible Bosses 2, and 22 Jump Street, probably the best of the bunch. Not a terrible sequel.
Yeah, again, another like a whole general franchise that I'm not really on board with, but not any worse probably than the first one.
All right. Well, one more, Josh, because we have a lot of these, but
you really went to town on these categories for this season.
I mean, because there's so many of like just crazy things. Actors making the directorial debuts. Bad Words, Jason Bateman. I kind of like that movie. Paul Bettany, Shelter. Haven't seen it. David Cross, Hits. Don't know it, but I would see it because it's David Cross. Russell Crowe, The Water Diviner. How about that? Chris Evans made a movie. How about that? Before we go, Ryan Gosling directed a movie, Lost River. William H. Macy made a movie, Rudderless. Chris Messina, Alex of Venice. And of course, Jon Stewart, Rosewater. What are we doing, guys?
I haven't seen any of those movies, I don't think. And I don't know if any of those people have directed again. So not a very promising debut for those people. So that wrapped up our regular season. As always, at the beginning of the season, we asked our friends on social media, mainly in the Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces group on Facebook, but also on our Facebook page at Awesome Movie Year, to suggest some of your favorite films from this year. We got a lot from Stephen Hughes, some of his suggestions that we haven't mentioned already. The Raid 2, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Kingsman: The Secret Service, Paddington, Wild with Reese Witherspoon, which I really like that. She's fantastic in that film. Stretch, the Joe Carnahan film. Top 5 with Chris Rock, and Beyond the Lights. And he had a whole bunch of other suggestions that we've mentioned already. So thank you, Stephen Hughes.
Yeah, The Raid 2, huge, people love that one. And Top 5 is an interesting movie.
Yeah. Have you not seen The Raid 2, Jason? That seems like right in your wheelhouse of those action movies.
That is right in my wheelhouse, but haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
It's fun. Very fun.
Weirdly, we just, Jason, in your list of these directorial debuts, Ben Blyle says both Chef, which we mentioned, and William H. Macy's Rudderless are on his all-timers list. So Rudderless by William H. Macy, one guy's all-time.
Maybe we have to check it out. Chef, what I love about Chef, and I've mentioned it before, is Favreau was able to connect in the zeitgeist twice in 20 years with independent movies, first with Swingers and then with this. Chef is a huge deal, bro.
It is. It's so bad, though. I don't understand.
You're wrong. You're just wrong.
It's just like Jon Favreau sucking his own dick and eating fancy food for 2 hours. Like, I'm going to get Scarlett Johansson to be my girlfriend, and I'm going to pretend that I can cook this amazing food. And it has like no plot whatsoever. It's so self-satisfied. I just really don't like it.
I think we should rewatch it. That should be our bonus so we can figure this out.
I really would prefer not to. Our friend Joe Black suggested a number of things that we've mentioned already. Also, Woody Allen's Magic in the Moonlight, the Adam Sandler film Blended, and Muppets Most Wanted. Some truly terrible choices there from Joe Black.
Ooh, my vendetta against Muppets Most Wanted. They almost took down the entire... I love the Muppets and I hate that movie so much.
Yeah, and I don't hate it, but it's definitely a step down from the previous Muppet movie. To be fair, he had some decent things also that we've already mentioned on his list. So, we're good with Joe Black.
Yeah, he did some sound on my movie that's playing in festivals now. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
We are pro Joe Black here. Jonathan Clark suggested Neighbors, speaking of Seth Rogen. And my sister, Brandy Bell, also had a big list, including a number of things that we've talked about already. She also mentioned Pride, Wild Tales, the Argentinian movie, which is fun. What We Do in the Shadows, which is the film that's kind of been overshadowed by the TV series. Love and Mercy, the Brian Wilson biopic she put on there as well, which is pretty good.
Is Love and Mercy the last great John Cusack performance?
Probably. He's one of those, we were just talking about this in our Liam Neeson Walk Among the Tombstones episode, one of these guys who does a lot of these straight to video thriller type things where he's just sleepwalking through the role. So I'd have to look, but you may be right. He's quite good in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
So that's what we got for 2014. That is this season of Awesome Movie Year. Thank you again to everyone who voted in our audience choice poll, who offered us suggestions on social media for your favorites from this year. Check us out on our social medias for more suggestions.
You guys are swell. We appreciate you. I'm at Jason Harris Comedy or Jay Harris Comedy and all the things. Go for Jason on the LB, the Letterboxd. We're at awesomemovieyear.com, Awesome Movie Year on Facebook and the Gram.
You can find some old things from me at joshbellhateseverything.com. I'm at Josh Bell Hates Everything on Facebook, at Signal Bleed on Blue Sky and on Letterboxd. And if you're on Letterboxd and you watch any of the movies that we talk about on the show, tag your review Awesome Movie Year. We would love to know what you think. And check out our producer David Rosen's awesome podcast, Piecing It Together.
Check out Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at Piecing Pod and join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where you can give us some suggestions for the next season of Awesome Movie Year.
And speaking of that, Jason, what is going to be in our next season?
I'm pretty pumped, Josh. We've talked about New Hollywood. This is kind of right in between that kind of French New Wave, beginning of New Hollywood, 1971. Let's get it.
And we are beginning with the box office champion of 1971. And this goes right to what I was just saying about the top 10 box office in 2014. The number one movie at the box office in 1971, a 3-hour musical. It is Fiddler on the Roof. So tune in next time for that. And thanks for listening to Awesome Movie Year.
Thank you for listening to Awesome Movie Year. Make sure to follow Awesome Movie Year on Facebook, at Awesome Movie Pod on Twitter, and at Awesome Movie Year on Instagram. And if you like the show, review us and rate us with 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.